Hello everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. I'm Denise and I'm here to bring you your astrological transits for the week of July 23rd through the 29th, 2023. There's so much happening. I think I'll just swap out cameras here and bring you over my table, otherwise I'm just going to be talking. I'd rather show you the charts. Okay, hold on, be right back. Okay, so today, Sunday, well actually I'm doing this on Thursday, but when Sunday comes along, July 23rd, 5:42 in the morning Pacific time, Chiron will begin to go retrograde. And it's going to last until right the day after Christmas, so December 26th this year. So it won't be for too long. And so it's going to back away a little bit away from Eris and give us a little bit of breathing room as far as like anger management issues, things like that maybe. But I always tend to look at anger as being healthy energy that, I mean, everything's all energy. It's all energy. And the way the universe, at least the way I believe the universe was constructed, is that it's all one energy current. And when our energy is put within the forces of love, when we are aligned with the forces of love, then we have more energy. But when we're working through things, for a while we don't have as much energy because we're trying to unhook from where we were using our own energy against ourselves. It's like basically wherever we're not in truth, our life force can, what happens is it inverts and it kind of works against us. So those of you who are doing better than ever, who have accessed your healthy anger and are using it to align with love, using it in loving ways, it's going to get better and better. And during this retrogradation period of Chiron, we're going to be accessing our gifts. Because Chiron is, it's a centaur, and it has to do with our deepest wounding. But once we work through, and as we work through every little piece of that wounding, every little aspect of that wounding, our gifts come through and continue to come through. And I've never aligned with the old saying that it's the wound that never heals. I don't believe that at all. And it doesn't matter to me what a person's body has come in to endure. That doesn't mean that their spirit and their soul can't be completely, well, actually, our spirits are already 100% perfect and whole. It's the soul trauma that we're here to heal. So, yeah. So just to look and see where Chiron is, where 19 degrees Aries is in your chart, and you'll know that that's where, that's the house that Chiron's been transiting through. It's most likely also the house, it's possible, but not, it could be two different houses, where this stellium of Aries, Mars-like energy is traveling through your chart. And so whichever house that is, it will affect that area of your life the most, and it will also be where you're coming through with more courage than ever. Mars rules Aries, and it's action. And then with the South Node in Libra, just remember, of course, we're working within relationships. We're working within the bridge to what we want to hang out with and be with. And, it's cardinal. Both of these are cardinal energies, as are Cancer here and Capricorn here. They set off the seasons, right? Aries starts off spring. So just think of it as being, I know it's not. In the Northern Hemisphere here it's summer, but think of it as being like a new springtime that's coming in to give you a little extra oomph. And then think of the Libra side as being equality, balancing out your soul substance. And then equality and justice we should see politically. We should see a lot of movement politically to help people understand that each and every one of us matters. No one should be left out. But, if these unjust, corrupt politicians and judges and all the ilk that support them and have put them up on their platform, if they want to continue to push a white nationalist agenda and other awful objective, just coming from this place of thinking that they're better than everyone else and no one else deserves to have what they have and they need it all for themselves. Well, basically they're aligned with a false belief in lack. Like there's never enough. Well, you know what? We keep breathing, we keep growing, we keep living, the sun keeps coming up, the grass keeps growing. Yeah, we've got climate change problems. We definitely have climate change issues to deal with and should have been dealing with them 20 years ago or more. How about 40 years ago at least? So, there's all of that. All that's on the table. And you can see that here astrologically. This is, you gotta love astrology when you look at it. Look at this grand cross going on here. Pluto in Capricorn at that anaretic degree has everything to do, and it's soon to, to move back. You can see it's at 5, soon to move to 28. We're talking power and abuses of power. And you can see, so just to stick with the nodes here up at this end, so Pluto being that T-square, so it's power coming from, now that the nodes have shifted from Scorpio, South Node has shifted from Scorpio to Libra, it's now about justice. It's now about equality, and it's now about forging a new frontier in ways that honors everyone and is present with everyone. Now, if any of you have been having, because I have all this actually happening, well, not Chiron, but I have this happening on my ascendant, and when the nodal shift is pretty much on my ascendant, and soon to move back into my 12th. But the deal is, because my ascendant is Aries, that means Mars is the ruler of my ascendant. Well, I have Mars in the 9th, so I combine those two together. But the thing is, Aries rules the head, right? So if any of you are experiencing, I know my friend Jean texted me, or maybe it was a comment, she wanted to know about pressure, head pressure, but she lives in an area where they had a tornado warning going on, so it might have been that. But I had one day when the nodal shift happened, actually it was the day before, I had one weird day where my head was a little whacked out, where I had to actually take Advil. And I normally never, have to do anything like that. And I was so glad that I had some. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to, I would have had to just go back to bed. And I didn't want to do that. I had things to do. So, if you're going through anything like that, Libra also rules the kidneys and the lower back. So like lower lumbar, area and, sacrum area. So if you have anything going on between your head and your lower back, it might be balancing out, and drinking lots of water and getting more rest will definitely help. Or it might help to get to move around with the Aries North Node, just to embrace that energy and get moving. So whatever works for you, the energy's there to move you forward on your path and blaze your own trail. It's so awesome there. And then notice this other half. So the sun, just today, actually started yesterday, newly into Leo. We have, it was yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, we have the other end of the T-square. So the sun is opposing Pluto, so there's a spotlight politically what we will probably see is a spotlight on people abusing their power, everything coming out, things coming to a head. And looking back at the South Node in Libra, we can start looking forward to cleaning up the past. So literally clean up on aisle 45. It's going to take years, but it's bringing us into awareness as to the lack of our Constitution that is archaic. And it's our USA is having its Pluto return. Later on, I think it's like in 20, wait, I have my dates over here. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it's 2027. Yeah, I have all my scribbles. Here we go. So yeah, March 18th, 2027, Pluto is going to conjunct our South Node. And this is our, the USA Sibley chart. And then we have this retrogradation process. The third pass, we won't be done until 2028. And we also have a nodal return coming in 2027. So we're just getting started when it comes to the USA getting into alignment. It's going to be years. And I think that, I'm predicting that the Democratic Party wins everything. And then we have 4 or 5 years of a lot of hard work to bring things into alignment, and it still won't be perfect because this is this past Pluto crossing over the South Node. So we have our Pluto return because we have Pluto in Capricorn, but our South Node's in Aquarius. So I think it's at 6 degrees. USA chart's over there somewhere. I won't dig it out, but that's for another time, a separate video. But you can see that things are moving along this, this pathway for justice to come through and for us to get moving in the right direction. And something's up. There's something that is up. I think, deaths at the border because of Governor Abbott. I think Trump's, who knows how many indictments might come through this next week and the following weeks, through August. And it's like it's imminent, something is coming through quickly or soon within this next month. Something big is what I'm feeling. So anyway, that pretty much sums up what's going on for the next few days with this grand square. Now, we also have, and this is all, as Chiron stationing retrograde, so as we're opening up to new understandings, being present with new understandings as to our gifts, then what also is happening, holding space for all of this, the backdrop, with Chiron retrograde, has to do with justice coming through, balance and fairness in relationships, getting, people being aligned with relationships that that are precious to them, being present in relationship and being fair and, having so much equality. And with this yod here, so we have the opportunity here. Now Neptune sextiles Pluto until October 22nd. And Neptune's retrograde as well, and that'll be retrograde until December 6th. But this opportunistic, this aspect here of opportunity from your spiritual sourced energy, or to get in touch with to get on your spiritual path, and it can also play out with more power in the media, because, Pluto has to do with power. But to me, for us, each one of us personally, I feel like this is us in our inner integrity. Because when you're inside of who you truly are, that is your power. That's your superpower, and only you have it. We each have it in different ways, combinations of different ways. And we need to honor that uniqueness, and that is your spiritual path. So there's support at both ends, and then we have this point coming down here to Venus and Leo, which has newly gone retrograde. So while this is happening, we have quite a bit of time. Well, Venus will go direct in September, early September, but for the time being, it's about issues of power. And the whole time Venus is retrograde, well, not the whole time, but for quite some time here, it will be with this inconjunct aspect here to Pluto, and then also up here to Venus, I'm sorry, Neptune. So like I was saying last week, it's like, personal love and spiritual love. Well, why can't it all be the same? If we honor each other in who we are in spirit, even if we don't like someone's personality, we can still love the fact that they are a person of, the Creator. And do with that, what you want. Neptune is also in this aspect, this inconjunct, which creates the need for an adjustment to the South Node. And that's happening for just the rest of, well, I think it's done by another 4 or 5 days. I'm pretty sure it's done by the end of this week. It'll be out of orb because it's a tight aspect. When we have these the inconjunct, this green line with a little like sideways K, quincunx inconjunct, it's a like 0 to 2.5 degree orb, never more than that. So that's soon to be done with, and we've had it for quite some time. Now you can see today, or for Sunday, Saturn is the moon is needing to make an adjustment to Saturn, because a slower moving planet always has the most power. So Pluto has the most power over this grand square, right, grand cross. The sun's just going to shine some light on, power abuses, I think. But then for those of you who've been working really hard, or not, I wouldn't even say it's hard work. Those of you who have been just opening up to your heart, opening up to what you love, and opening up to expressing yourself creatively, what's happening there is you will find your power within that. And so this is really good transit. I love that the sun is opposing Pluto with this Chiron retrograde, because Chiron retrograde will take us more inward to find our gifts. But the sun's shining its light. It's like, I'm here. I'm right there inside you all along. The sun's, it's your core essence. And it's in your heart, it's in your solar plexus, it's in your body. Just shine your light. and notice everyone else's light as well. And then we also have the sun with this sextile here to the moon. So, well, the moon's moving more quickly than the sun. But anyway, we do have an opportunity here to, Leo and Libra energy can get together very well, right? Because Libra energy is receptive and the moon is receptive. So we've got like a double reception going on here. And then the sun is shining very brightly in Leo right there. So that's fantastic. And then you can notice this aspect of the architect with the moon this morning. So all this is the backdrop supporting this Chiron retrograde, where the moon is in a nice, easy flow to powerful Pluto. And even before Chiron stationed retrograde, the moon was in that trine there. So we have this aspect of the architect, which is a building aspect. And yes, to Victoria Cleary, she, I can't remember if it was a comment or an email, but I think it was a comment asking if this point of the aspect of the architect, if it's like a hinge. And that's true. That was a good way to describe that. So the moon is like the hinge that will respond to what you want to bring through to the sun, because the moon's moving more quickly. It'll pass, but the fire and air work really well together. Fire and air, and then up here, this Capricorn, the element of earth, or one of the earthly elements in the zodiac, it's still cardinal energy. So is Libra. The Leo is it's fixed fire, so I feel like there's a lot of space holding here, even though Pluto's up there in the powerful end. So basically, I think the easiest way to name this one would be, when it comes to politics, we have two luminaries that are going to show the abuses. But for us personally, if we can use our emotional foundation, our feelings that are clear, not coming from emotional reaction. Coming from emotional reaction would be something like, there's a lot of ways. Basically, emotional reaction will always try to be aggressive, submissive, or go into withdrawal. So, and sometimes, I would say most every time, those are all just manipulations in order to feel safe or protect ourselves. And, it's different. Everybody's different. Some things will trigger you like a deer in the headlights and you just freeze. Other things will scare you to the place where you'll jump and move, and it's like, whoa, I didn't know why I did that. And then you realize, oh, you just dodged something, and then, man, I've been through that a couple of times. Could have been a terrible car accident, but because I changed lanes, like in a split second, it's like, whoa. Getting out from behind my car at a car wash when a guy was just going to, you know how you're putting stuff in your trunk and you're going to go through the car wash thing? I had just put things in my trunk and literally just stepped to the driver's side, and then this guy in a big fat Cadillac or I'm pretty sure it was a Cadillac, either that or a Lincoln something or other. He decided to get his wallet out of his pocket, but took his foot off the brake and slammed it onto the gas pedal. And he majorly messed up my bumper, but I just turned around and my eyes were like, whoa. But it took me probably 10 minutes to start realizing in my body, because my whole body started shaking. It took my body that long to catch up with what could have just happened. So things like that are instinctual, those things belong in the category of Aries, where your body will just move and you don't know why, but then you realize, oh. Or you can empath something and your body will teach you later on what it meant. And those things happen when the polar opposite of Libra, of being in relationship or being the bridge for somebody and you're receiving information for them. And then here's the other end of it here. You need to express it. You need to understand that the light came through for some reason, right? So, other questions could be answered in that situation, like why did I need to go get my car washed at that time? Like maybe I wasn't listening to guidance then when I just wanted to get it done. Why did I need to get in front of that person like that? All of those questions. It's like, whoa. I totally forgot about that. We're talking back in the early 90s. Yeah. That was a really long time ago. I can remember the car wash and where I was too. It's crazy in California. So anyway, what else? So with the moon here at that hinge point of the aspect of the architect, it's a building opportunity here. It's an opportunity to build something from the bridge of your intuitiveness and connected to the core of who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Leo or not. The sun is still shining in Leo somewhere in your chart. And you can use that energy to hook up as fully as you possibly can with your power. So that's there. And then we also have Uranus in this. You can see this, it's a building, it's an applying square right now to Mercury, because Mercury's moving forward pretty quickly. You can see that Uranus is at 22. And, well, Venus will hook up with that square later, but for now it's just Mercury square. So it can be challenging information that comes through, but it can also be strengthening information that comes through. Because these two, when you put Mercury and Uranus together, you can hook up with the future. You can hook up with divine mind. There could be some precognition coming through, some psychic abilities that come through. And that's especially the case because Uranus in this trine to Pluto, which is a building, it's a building trine because it's applying, right? So Uranus is going this way, 22, and, well, Pluto's retrograde going back, but it's not going to go back any further than 27 degrees before it goes direct and then into Aquarius. Or I should say it's going this way. So anyway, this nice, easy flow can help us wake up and free ourselves to the point that if we work it well and we stay in our integrity, then, which means that we don't manipulate others, we don't use others, we don't force ourselves on others in ways, we don't. So basically, back to aggression, submission, or withdrawal. We don't withdraw from somebody just to get even. We don't aggress onto somebody, even if it's passive-aggressive behavior, just to get what we want. And we don't submit, which would mean not saying no. When you need to say no, we don't submit in order to manipulate. But we do those things out of fear. And so those are Libra issues that we will all be working on for the next year and a half. Until we back into the polarity of Pisces and Virgo. So that's, there's a lot, that's a mouthful there. We'll just have to see how it goes, see what issues it brings up for you, and feel free to, just be with it and not worry about it, but do something about it is the thing. The zodiac, the cosmos at this time in history is requiring that we do something about the places that we're unhappy. And I don't mean you do something to somebody that you're in relationship with. I mean you do your deeper work to dig in and figure out what it means for you. And that's especially true with Venus here, sextiling the South Node, because Venus rules Taurus and Libra, so we've got a double whammy of relationship energy and Venus retrograde, it's going to help us reevaluate what other people that we're in relationship with, what they mean to us, and to let them know. Venus in Leo is very expressive. It could be calling up a friend and saying, "Hey, I miss you, how you doing?" Or texting them, or sending them a nice note. Just drop a little note in the mail. Those are fun, right? Fun ways to express your love. And or if you're like me, it's like I'm be thinking about one of my kids, and then they'll call or text or whatever. One tends to text and the other one tends to call. So yeah, what else? So with this South Node in Libra and Venus retrograde, we're going to be reevaluating our relationships and how we relate in those close relationships. And it's always helpful to remember that relationships are mirrors, and it's normal to get triggered in relationship, but when you do, it's either there for the reason to help you understand your childhood wounding so you can work through it, or it's there to help you rise up and go, hey, this doesn't work for me. And then from there, you can teach another person that you're in a relationship with how you deserve to be treated. And if they continue to mistreat you, or they don't want to do the work with you, then you're at a choice point. Do you move on? Do you hang in there? If you're hanging in there, why? You have to ask yourself why. Like, what's the fear? Is there a fear of change? Or with Libra, we have to be careful with peace at any price. And with Aries, we have to be leery of like jumping out of a relationship too soon because, you're not feeling met. So working the two out, right? Again, action and then equality and that bridge in between. Okay, so let me go ahead and move forward because I think that's enough for the weekly overview and definitely handles Chiron retrograde. And then so for Monday, we still have the same aspects here, and we still have that double, the double yod going on. I think we have it most of the week. I think it goes through all the way to like Thursday or so, if I remember right. But yeah, in the trine from Saturn. No, wait, that's not right. Hold on. Yeah, no, forget about that. I already talked about that. Okay, so you can see that the Grand Cross is still there. I know what I want to talk about with this one. Saturn opposing Mars. Now, Saturn's coming back this way, so it's going to go out of orbit. Right now, it's just 2 degrees here, just about. But we still have another 4 or so degrees to work with that. But Mars is moving forward pretty quickly. Mars in Virgo really wants to get to the details. So this is going to be really good when it comes to politics, because there's a lot of forward movement, impetus to get to the truth, to get to the details, to get out of chaos and into something that's good for the whole, good for the people. With Saturn retrograde in Pisces, this should help immigration, or figuring out what is needed in order to it should help move it along in a way that is more humane, because Pisces can definitely rule. It does definitely rule immigration. And then Saturn is our governmental process. But for us personally, like if you have any spiritual plans, projects, music, art, anything like that you can devote yourself to, you can really make some forward strides with that. Or at least figure out what doesn't work. Right? Like I've told you before, I've confessed that I'm famous for making things harder than they need to be. And I keep getting little pieces here and there, like, oh, I didn't need to do that. Oh, wait, I could do that in 1 step instead of 4. Oh, wait, I can slide all those files over together at the same time. I don't have to do them one at a time just because they just downloaded. I go, wait, open up that folder and slide them all over, things like that. But, how long has it taken me to look for easier ways to do things? It would help if I had extra time to take tutorials or watch tutorials and stuff, but I just don't right now. I will in the future, though. So anyway, you'll probably see we have some lovely energy going on here with Jupiter in this trine over to Mars. So Jupiter is healing. When it comes to Taurus, the sign of Taurus, and these two, Jupiter and Uranus are kind of dancing together all of, we'll start it in June. Well, it's still a 10-degree orb there, but we will have a conjunction of these two together in 2024. but the dance is still going on, and we also have a dance going on here, even though the orb is really wide right now. But in the spring of next year, these two will start coming together, and then we'll have a peak energy in 2025 and 26, and then 27 it'll kind of start, to wane off. So, but this is the perfect time for getting healthy, for releasing addictions, for getting inside of your anxieties and fears, and just doing that will release the need for any, unless you need it for some like chemical imbalance in your brain or something. If we do the work to access what the pain was and what the fears are, and if we access the sorrows and the sadness, and we come home to ourselves and we grieve whatever happened in the past, we so many things we have to, there's so many soul traumas that we've gone through lifetime after lifetime, and you don't have to you don't need to have all those details. You don't have to do that. You don't have to re-experience every little thing. It doesn't work that way. It's more about just being human and having compassion for yourself. I'm speaking to Saturn in Pisces right here, and Neptune in Pisces too. If you have compassion for yourself and others, then you're doing the best work that you can. And when you open up to that grief and you do that grief work, then there tends to not be any more need for, like drugs or alcohol that could be in excess, So yeah, grief work, anxiety work, doing that, going into the fears, facing the fears. And then, the sun, for the whole time the sun's in Leo, at least we have lots of support here to do our creative thing. And Mercury and Venus hooking up together, because remember, Venus is retrograde and Mercury's moving quickly this way. We are going to have this time this week to really get inside of our creative self-expression. All of that is Leo energy. So that's wonderful. What else? Okay, the moon today is still in Libra, of course, but you can see it's at 15 degrees Libra early this morning. Libra early this morning. I didn't mean to say Libra. But notice how it's starting to exactly oppose Chiron. And as it moves forward, it's going to oppose Eris and the North Node. It's going to hook up with the South Node as the days go forward. And so we're in this contradiction right here. We have an opposition going on where we could have a confrontation or a contradiction of values, but we're going to work those things out over the next few days. And it's very possible that by the time the moon hooks up with the South Node, we're probably going to have a big breakthrough. But for today, there's the beginnings, and we'll definitely have this happen today because it's only 6 a.m. The moon moves forward pretty quickly. So that opposition to Chiron. So there could be some mirroring. It might come through a relationship with a friend, or it could be a friend that helps you work through something where there's a relationship issue from the past that needs to be felt with or felt into. It could be that you had a relationship with someone who abandoned or rejected you, and it's up for healing today. It could also be the type of thing where you're finding your power to get started with something, but then to stick with it is going to take something else, like Pluto up here. Because Aries and Libra energy kind of, I don't know, Libra energy is famous for procrastination, and Aries energy is famous for just getting something started but not finishing. It requires the other planets. But we have, Mars in Virgo, that'll get her done. Jupiter in Taurus will get her done. And Pluto in Capricorn, we do have, these earthly elements there holding space for us. And Uranus in Taurus, definitely, when we get her done, we're going to feel free. So there's that. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward because actually, let me talk about this really quickly. We've covered the aspect of the architect when it was at the other side, but now you see how Venus is in this trine up here to Eris. There's a nice flow of courage that will lead you forward as long as you're standing up for yours and other women's rights. If you're joining together in a loving way, because remember, Venus has everything to do with unity. It has everything to do with bringing together forces to harmonize in some way. And it makes comparisons, and we figure out what really matters to us, but it rules our relationships, and especially that we love. It rules women, our self-worth, our attitudes even towards women are ruled by Venus. So things should be more loving and more kind, I'm hoping. And, with the trine over here to Eris, and as Venus moves backwards towards Mercury, and Mercury's moving forward towards Venus, they're definitely cooking up together. So, yeah. And, yeah, the details there for healing and for safety and stability. That's all there with Mars and Jupiter. So then, Tuesday here, 6 a.m., notice the Grand Cross we've been talking about still, that started out the week and it's still in effect. But we have those two yods that I was speaking about before. But notice how things have intensified, because not only do we have, so remember, one of the points of one of the odds is pointing to Neptune. So there's that spiritual love that's up there in the cosmos, just holding space for us. And then we have another point here coming down to Venus, which is our human ability to try and get beyond and underneath that veil of where we maybe have felt cut off in the past from spiritual love, or maybe we didn't believe, maybe we didn't have any faith, maybe we've been sitting there with our arms crossed going, well, I can't see it, I can't touch it, so it's not there, right? Well, maybe that's something that we can open up and heal from. There's that possibility. It's like believing in something that's invisible, right? Which that other people love you. Like, imagine somebody has crossed over. We can all imagine that, because I'm sure we've probably all had that happen. You remember the love that you shared. You even remember the conflicts that you had. Well, the love tends to win, especially over time. And it's invisible, but it doesn't go away, right? So why can't that be true for the way the universe actually works? And we have Neptune here holding space for the absolute truth that we all matter. We're all a part of the Creator. And then we have our physical human experience over here in our heart. Like, maybe that is what we're really opening up to. And there's that communication that can come through spiritually. Like sitting down and going into your heart space and hooking up with your guides, all your guardian angels, your higher self giving you guidance, and all of creation is holding space for all of us to do that. And we've got this aspect of the architect here coming down to the sun. So again, like Victoria was saying, here's a hinge point on this spiritually sourced energy. And we have the reception into our core energy, and that can help us with our power, because notice we still have that opposition with the sun and Pluto and that grand cross going on. And then notice the other thing too here is that Pluto's at 2902. And I just did this by accident. I didn't mean to, but look at this. Pluto's at 2902 degrees, and the nodes are 2902. So we have an exact T-square going on with Pluto, and the sun is at 2 degrees. So, yeah. But anyway, this up here this is exact from the nodes to Pluto. So maybe this is a really important day. July 25th, Tuesday, might turn out to be a very important day when it comes to politics. But for us personally, my question up here is, what is your personal integrity? Where is your personal integrity? Where are the places in you that won't kiss the ring, that won't use someone else, that won't do things in order to get someone else's approval? And other questions might be, who do you think you need to be and do in order to receive love and approval? And if you can break through that, you can, here, let me grab the tarot card for that really quick. If you can break through that, you can release your real self out into the universe and not have to deal with any crap. And then, of course, you're a star. Everyone's a star. We all come from stardust. It's all in our bones. It's all in our system. No, women didn't come from Adam's rib. God, who could make up that kind of crap, man? Jeez. Okay, so what else for this day, for Tuesday? Oh, the moon is hooked up here with the south node, and so it's not exact, but it's probably about as exact it's going to get before, because it'll be crossed over the other side, I think, for tomorrow. I'm sure it will be. So now we do have that opposition exactly between, not exactly, but almost between. It will within hours. We will have an exact opposition to Eris. So remember, Eris is our feminine counterpart of Mars. Just think of like Mars's sister. And it takes her 558 years to get around the zodiac. So she's even more powerful than Pluto, doubly powerful. And she's the one that says, no more, no, I'll fight to the death over and over and over and over and over until equality comes through for the feminine, for the receptive energy. So there's that. And that's nothing, that doesn't say anything. I'm not saying anything about negating masculine energy, because we all have a divine masculine and a divine feminine that are, I mean, in the spirit world, there's no such thing as any separation between the two. So there's that. Okay, and then, so on another level, moon conjuncting the south node can bring through, this is an excellent morning to meditate, because we can get some past life guidance. We can get some guidance as to how to move forward, because when the moon opposes, just, we have an luminary here opposing the north node, it gives us some light shining on our path, and then we have the wisdom of the past to guide us. So think of like the rudder of a ship of any type here, and that forward movement with feminine courage and your deeper gifts that help you to just go forward. So that's wonderful. And then you can see this, there are 3 sextiles here from the moon in the south node has double the action going on to Mercury and Venus. So there's a lot of talk about this, and I really think that it has to do with women's rights, and also when it comes to Leo, it's anyone's self-expression, healthy self-expression, and their identity. Leo rules a person's identity. So however a person identifies is their personal integrity. And you don't want to veer from that. You don't want to push, that away. You want to stand strong in that because it's truth. It's your personal truth. And then with this, let's see, so 2 trines over here from Venus to the North Node. Yeah, that's exactly. So everything I've just said is fully reinforced, not just from one aspect, but from 3. Yeah, and then Mars is still, in that nice trine to Jupiter. Oh wait, Uranus has the square now to Venus and Mercury. Yeah, so there is a tension field that's being held here. But it's okay because it's going to help us break through. I mean, I truly believe in the women and all the people that are helping us women get our equality, get to the place where we know we're equal, but if we can just get the government on board, right? Okay, so Wednesday, the moon has moved into Scorpio. So I'll go more quickly now because I'm just going to track the aspects of the moon for a bit. So the moon in Scorpio is trining Saturn. So this is nice. And actually earlier this morning was exactly trine. So there's a nice flow of intuitive energy. And with Scorpio, now we have the emotional feelings of trusting ourselves more. It might be more intense. Maybe some secrets are coming out about government mishappenings that happened in the past. Because, with the moon crossing over the South Node, I'm pretty sure some information came out. Because the moon also rules the public. So there could have been some public outcry. Because you can still see that grand, cross. Those T-squares going on at both ends. And with the nodes. So the nodes are the people. And the moon rules the moon rules the moods that the people will go through. So more relationship oriented, and now in Scorpio we're digging our heels in because we know what we want and we're not going to be in fear anymore. Unless if you're going through something like that, that's possible. That could come in because of the opposition with Jupiter. There's the ability to feel it intensely with Jupiter involved because Jupiter blows everything up, expands things. But also within that expansion, as long as you can handle that energy, then you can have a big breakthrough that is very healing. So there's that, and then we also have the opportunity here from with this sextile to Mars. So again, some information has come through, some details have come through, and now we have an opportunity to respond, coming from a deeper self-trust, and maybe even a more intimate relationship with someone that's very healing, and it doesn't have to be sex. It can be, but it doesn't have to be because it's still sharing consciousness. When you bare your soul to another person, you're sharing your deeper consciousness. And then, let's see, so that's done there. You can see all these aspects of the architect here off of the moon. Well, there's the moon in the South Node to Mars. So yeah, this Saturn opposition, or Mars opposition to Saturn, I should say, is actually pretty powerful with the aspects that the moon has created as well. So yeah, I still feel like this week there's going to be a lot coming out politically. But it has been feeling that way for quite some time. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and move forward. Okay, so then Thursday, Mercury's joined up with Venus exactly at 8 a.m. Pacific, so July 27th. Oops, my printer's goofing up there, I can see. So now, man, there's an intense focus. Look at that. So we have the sextile from Neptune and Pluto that, is still in effect until October 22nd. But for this, we have two of the quincunxes, the inconjuncts, that are coming off of Mercury and Venus up to Pluto. So again, I feel like it's the same thing, the same question before. What is your personal integrity? Where is your personal integrity? Where do you say no to kissing the ring anywhere if someone in a relationship isn't right for you, or a person, a political person, is proving to be extremely out of integrity? And no one's perfect. You're never going to get a perfect person or politician. That's not who we are on Earth. But if people are trying to do better, if people are always trying to transform, trying to heal, that's the key. And the moon in Scorpio is reinforcing that need, And look at this nice trine over here to Neptune. Yeah, so that's spiritually supportive to go deeper. But it is creating a square. We do have an applying square that's happening. So again, this makes me feel like somebody's saying something and you're intuiting something else that doesn't jive with their words, but you love them anyway. So you're just kind of holding it softly in your heart. And then trusting that later on, the spiritual essence of both parties will work it through. But today it's kind of like, especially early this morning, and maybe even through to like 10 a.m. or so, or more. I'd say give it to noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, before this is worked through, because there's some tension going on between the heart and trusting issues. There's something about trusting a person and what they're saying. Yeah. And then also you can see this inconjunct here coming down to Eris. So maybe somebody has said something maybe you're in a relationship with someone and they said something derogatory about women and the strength of being able to just be your own unique self. And it's made you question, like, whoa, I heard that. Do they know what they just said? Because, all those Freudian slips. And, so working that through, that can definitely be the case. And then notice how we have 2 inconjuncts coming up to Neptune. So again, back here, Neptune is holding the power. Neptune and Pluto, and this beautiful sextile is that opportunity, and they're both holding the power, because these are the 2, slower transpersonal planets. What's her face down here? Eris. She's a dwarf planet, so I can't put her in the same category, although she moves much more slowly. But these 2 slower moving transpersonal planets are in control, in power, and they're holding the space of understanding your spiritual integrity is not different than your personal human physical integrity. If you can get in alignment with where they're both together, that's the opportunity. And it's pointing down to, making the point to look here. It's all about communicating from the heart. And it's okay to not be perfect, but now you know what you know, and it's like, oh, okay, well, there's something to work through. You still love each other, but like, oh, you just picked up on something that isn't true. Do you realize that that's not true? And do you want to, work on that or not, right? Because it's everyone's free will. Everyone has their choice. So topics like that can come up, and it might be that none of this is for you personally, but you're just going to notice it politically, because that's pretty much what's out there all the time. Like noticing a politician. Well, who's famous for that? Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was a perfect example of somebody who says, well, shoot, it's Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell. Oh, there's so many of them. You guys could probably fill in the blanks for me. That will say one thing when something happens, and then later on they'll flip and say another thing just because it behooves them. Oh, here's a really good one. Biden's infrastructure plan, Biden's all those wonderful plans and acts that he has put through to help, inflation, curb inflation, all of that. None of them voted for it, but they're all taking, on the GOP side, they're all taking taking credit for, look what we did in our state, but they voted against it, right? So now they have these funds for their states, but then the important thing is to go back in history and look at the information that's coming through and notice the lack of love because they voted against it. That was them exercising their free will in the past. And so those things are going to be coming out with a passion, with the full force of Leo passion. So, okay, what else? Anything else? So we did this in conjunct here. Yeah, the courage to hold that space of intensity. The square, too. Yeah, it's going to be an intense day on Thursday, I believe. And then the moon, now, I would say it was probably around 6 a.m. that the moon was exactly opposite Uranus. But what's happening there is, my goodness, some awareness, some awakening, something probably coming out into the public sphere that can be a little shocking to some people. I'm just predicting massive, more lawsuits against Trump, more indictments coming down. And because we need that safety. If we don't put those safety checks in place, we don't have a future in America. Because that means that any autocratic dictator can come in and take over. So we're fighting fascism. Yeah, okay, but personally for you guys, it could be that something came through in dream time and really helps you to wake up to committing more on your spiritual path and trusting your heart. Yeah, okay, so Friday, we have the moon squaring Saturn. And again, don't forget Pluto squaring the nodes is still there in that. Now look how that's exact. It's like it's tracking exactly. Remember, it was 2902. Now it's 2858, 2859, 2850. Look at that. In all my years, I don't remember ever seeing this before. Wow. So yeah, who's kissing the ring? And this is politically, well, and personally too. Where in your life would you be giving yourself away in order to get something from someone else? And if you're doing that, you're using them. And you can expect to be used so that you feel that pain coming back. With the moon in Sag, there's more direction, more intuitiveness coming through, more political. The political mood will be, there's light shining on the political mood. Look at that. So it's not just the moon squaring Saturn. The moon is also in a bit of a T-square still with Mars. So there's action coming through politically. And then also with this trine from the moon to the sun, it's just, man, to have these two luminaries shining that brightly, I think something's going to be coming out in the news. Thursday, Friday, like a Friday night news dump maybe. Of course, it can happen anytime nowadays. Things come out into the news. Yeah, that's still that Neptune in conjunct the nodes that's a tight orb there. That's going to be there for a little bit because the nodes go slowly. So we have a yod here to Mercury and Venus that are together. talking about the past, passionately wanting to clean up the past, passionately wanting justice and harmony in relationships and politically. And then connecting up here, pointing back to Neptune and Pisces, which is, the need to dissolve numbness, the need to transcend and get above anything that isn't good for everyone. The need to heal addictions, the need to envision spiritually what you want, the need to get in touch with your creativity. And then politically, the need to expose this like cult-like energy of the GQP, where they don't have a spine to stand on or to stand up with, and where they are just bending over for Putin every second. Again, kissing the ring, right? The sun is shining all week long on that. The light is exposing all those political issues. And then notice we have a 6-degree orb coming in here between Uranus and Pluto. So from Friday forward, it's going to heat up even more. Because remember, Pluto's going backwards towards like that 27, and Uranus is still, it's still direct. So this is an applying trine that's just begun. And here, I think it was just begun today. I didn't notice if it was there yesterday. Oh, yeah, it was. Hold on. Oh, where have I screwed up? Oh, shoot. Has it been all week long? Let's see, maybe. Hell yeah. I'm in dirt. It was going on all week long. Yeah. Because there's that 6-degree orb. Okay, so let's talk about that. Unless I already talked about it and it just slipped my mind. Uranus trining to Pluto was pretty much what I was saying already. What we're dealing with there is waking up to the stability and safety that needs to happen in order for our integrity to be held firmly in place. And so, here we could put Uranus, the Fool, along with the Empress. And that would bring in Uranus and Taurus. And then with that trine up there to Pluto and Capricorn, well, Capricorn, let's just go with Saturn, because I don't think to put the devil, well, it can be. There's the world, and there's completion, and there's fulfillment with that card. Another Capricornian card, we could put the devil up there, all right? Yeah, when it comes to the majors, no, that would be Scorpio. I think that's about it, actually. So, forging new frontiers for women and family and food. When we're talking climate change, just think about, animals that are outdoors, like chickens and, we can always go vegetarian and vegan. So there's that, but we're going to have problems there. And then who wants to hold on to OPEC and, oil in order to live when it doesn't need to be that way? And can't we come into something much better that we can give our heart to with no reservations, because it's good for all of us? How about that? Okay, so let's see. The moon in Sag is up there in that T-square. Mars bringing through the details with Virgo, willing to work hard, willing to be of service to the greater good of the whole. And then also the opposition there that's still, Saturn's up here, holding space for something much bigger than we're used to being with. But I love the Mars and Virgo energy, actually, because remember, Virgo brings in divine order. Virgo brings through trying to be useful. And as long as we can let go of needing to be perfect, because that's just a farce, don't even do that. But if we can get in alignment with healthy issues, healthy ways of moving through life, creating schedules, just think of Virgo as getting inside all the details in order to have more health, create more, anything to get you out of chaos, basically. Create more structure. That's a better word, structure in your life. Create more order in your life. And valuing yourself in all the little ways without, don't ever negate yourself for the little things that you do, even if it doesn't get you anywhere, except for maybe now your closet's clean or something. The drawers are clean. No big deal. Yeah. So, it is a big deal, but don't negate yourself for all that work. Okay. You don't get to the end of the day and feel like you didn't get anything accomplished just because you did a lot of stuff around the house. Because we all have days like that. And actually, it makes me feel better knowing that that's done. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, the inconjunct is still, there's nothing new there. There's, the little sesquisquare between the moon and Chiron. It's not a big deal. It's just there can be a little political stubbornness that comes through today, and we might be holding space for that. Yeah, but I really like that trine to the sun this morning. And other than that, until the moon moves forward enough to being off these other planets, that's it for today. Did I say enough about Uranus trine Pluto? It's going to be there for a while. Just remember, Uranus will always bring through a breakthrough. We could have some science and some technological breakthroughs. It helps us to wake up. It's literally, all the woke stuff that the GOP is fighting. They don't want to wake up. They want things to stay the way they were so they can just keep grifting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, thanks, Charles, for the email about the. So here's the new thing. It hasn't passed or anything hasn't been approved, but the GOP is trying to give themselves an $8,000 yearly pay raise. How you like them apples? Right? 175,000 or 174,000 a year is just not enough for them, even though all they're doing is just fighting. They're literally fighting the liberation that needs to happen, because they don't work for the people, they work for themselves. So there could be, now Uranus can bring through a shock, and just because it's a trine and that's a harmonious aspect doesn't mean that it's going to be harmonious for anyone who's out of alignment with spiritual law. Capricorn rules spiritual law, Saturn rules spiritual law, or I'm sorry, man-made law. It's Neptune that rules spiritual law. So with Pluto would be the transformation of the soul on Earth in Capricorn, and then spiritual law being much broader and wider than a person can even imagine, and it's not tit for tat, it's more about your belief system that brings through your life experience. And then, so, if our belief system isn't in alignment with what is truth, which is the laws of love, or which are the laws of love, then we're just floundering around trying to find our way. So Uranus will help us wake up to that. And in Taurus, it'll be in ways that can help us stabilize, ways that we can ensure our self-preservation. And, we're dealing with climate change. So that all these things are on the table. Yeah, we've got spiritual principles going on here, and then in the need for healing. So, okay, let me go forward. Oh, wait, I didn't talk about the moon squaring Saturn. That's the test. So the moon, not the test that I missed, but the test is the square, right? Okay, because a square is a challenge. A square is a tension field that can turn into a strength. And the moon in Sag will bring through political, but it can also bring through intuitive awareness for you people that are working in the light. And with the square to Saturn, there'll be a test like, oh, I just intuited something. Is it true? And you might have to wait and figure out. You might have to just wait, maybe take a note and just wait and see if it is true. Now, what's true for you is true for you, and that can always be adjusted if need be. But the moon in Sag might help us to feel more free. It's not a good travel aspect to have the moon up there in that T-square between Mars and Saturn. And the moon squaring Saturn is not, well, Mars has gone further, so this end of this leg is not so bad. But focusing in on the moon can be, trying to travel and get to family, but then somebody doesn't have control over the schedule and things, you might just need to allow a whole lot more time. And I think that that's probably one of the keys to traveling nowadays, at least by air. Well, actually, even by road, because because of Biden's infrastructure plan, there are all kinds of road repair happening, and train derailments that are trying to be rectified there. So travel doesn't look like a good weekend for travel, I wouldn't say, with this square, or at least the beginning, on Friday. Maybe Saturday, Sunday it gets better, but yeah. Another problem this could bring up is religious dogma, patriotic dogma. Here we are with Saturn holding space in Pisces for like everyone, for the good of all people. And compassionate space, right? And it's retrograde, no less, as well as Neptune in Pisces. And then here we are with the moon. Somebody might be speaking up saying, like, they know the way. But they're not. They're lying. Okay, Saturday. No, this is Friday. Still Friday. That's right. Okay, so Friday, 2:32 p.m., Mercury moves into Virgo, right here. And it's still at that one of the legs of the, wait, hold on. 0. Yeah, so the double, right, Mercury and Venus, even though Mercury's in Virgo, it's still making the same aspects. And we still have the same yod going on to Neptune. Still hooking up with the south node, of course, because that's one of the other opportunistic aspects there. Still within that in conjunct to Pluto. We still have the two, see the one yod here and the other yod here. So everything's still the same, even though Mercury's moved into Virgo, and now we're really thinking about the details that are coming through. We've gained, with Mercury and Leo, we've gained a lot of courage and love, but and we've opened our hearts in new ways. But now that Mercury has moved into Virgo, we're like, okay, now what do we do with all that useful information that came through? And it's going to continue to come through, because the closer Mercury moves towards Mars, it's going to, the information is going to, hook up, it's going to heat up. So so there's that. Now, Mercury will go retrograde, I think it's September. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's September. I could be wrong. It might be in August. I have to look that up. I know I was looking at it the other day, but I forgot to write it down to because I tend to remember things when I write them down, especially with like weird dates. It's like a weird thing of me. Well, it's a weird thing inside of me, the way my head works. Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me like speaking, like talking faster with Mercury and Virgo already here? It's like I'm tuned into this. So just think of your mind going forward fast, maybe faster than your words can connect with. Of course, that's my Mercury retrograde that I just have natally anyway. But yeah, so it's opposing. Notice how Mercury's at 0, Saturn's at 5, so we have an applying opposition. So yeah, we're going to be really intently listening and tracking patterns, tracking the details of what politicians are saying and what's happening in our government. That's where this is headed. Okay. Let's see. And then, no, that's Uranus. That is Venus square Uranus. That's been in orb, and that's as Venus continues to move backwards because it's retrograding. This is going to tighten up. So we have an applying square and a tension field that is building between self-expression, creative self-expression, and relationships and money, the way we spend our money, which is our power, and the waking up to those values. We're going through a period of coming into alignment, getting into our true values. Yeah. Now, the moon is while Mercury is moving, into Virgo, the moon has this nice trine over to Chiron today, and that's an applying trine, so it's building even more of a flow to help our gifts, help us bring our gifts through in some new way. And notice how we've got, so the moon's up here in this semi-square to the south node and semi-square to Venus. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Pluto. So that, why did I say Venus? Well, the moon's still trining Leo. I'm just wondering if it was a slip there that I should address. Not really. Yeah, I mean, I've already addressed the other. Yeah. Well, Venus and Pluto that's, it can be powerful love, powerful self-expression. That is the adjustment that needs to be made. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, back up here to the moon and Sag. So remember this Sag, it's a lot of things. It's movement, it's freedom, it's travel, it's speaking up, it's divination. It's divination is more than ninth house, but it's still, Sag rules the ninth house, as well as Jupiter ruling the ninth house. So, we're exploring. We're emotionally exploring what we want to invest in. And so once we figure out what that is, those actions will need to be taken. Otherwise, it's going to bug us. These two semi-squares here, they require action. And it comes from, relationship issues in the past, justice issues that need to be resolved. And that's, because remember that square is still happening, to the nodes. And look how that is exactly today, 2857. Doesn't seem to matter where Pluto goes, the nodes are tracking with it. This is phenomenal. Wow. It's been bugging me for months that other astrologers weren't talking about Pluto squaring the nodes, but I bet you now they are. It tends to, the astrologers that focus in on the nodes, always, like I do, it comes from our training in evolutionary astrology. So, a lot of times they'll just talk about Pluto square the north node because they don't put the south node in their programs. And then maybe they will now. Maybe that'll be a thing that helps break through, because Uranus rules astrology. And with the trine to Pluto, there can be some transformation that helps astrologers get inside of that. Maybe we'll start seeing more of those out, those astrologers out there. Okay, so let's see. Mercury in Virgo, I think that's good for that. And then Saturday, we have a grand fire trine that came through at 1 p.m. Still the moon's in Sag, but now it's in a triple trine here to the stellium in Aries with Chiron, Eris, and the North Node. So I think by Saturday afternoon, we know what we want and we know where we're going, and we're talking about it, and we're getting into the details of how to do it, and we have a lot of passion for just to come together with people so that we can do it, and the courage, with Eris over here holding space for all that courage, and Chiron moving closer to Eris. As Chiron goes backwards, it's going to, we will have that conjunction coming up in the future. I don't have an exact date for that yet, but I'll get there. The Sun today is making an inconjunct aspect to Saturn. So there's some adjustment with that quincunx inconjunct, that 150-degree aspect there. There's an adjustment that needs to be made based on some light that's being that is shining on I don't know who. Who do you think? that used to be in the government is now running for a government position again just to keep his ass out of jail. Who do you think that might be? I think somebody's spouting off, because with all this fire energy, it's hard to contain themselves. The darker politicians, it's really hard to contain themselves. I think that probably what's coming out this week is a lot of information either about indictments to come or actual indictments from different states and maybe even from Jack Smith. And then I also have a feeling that more and more of the politicians that supported him will be coming out into the open. And also, I think information about billionaires who have supported, so people like Leonard Leo, who basically, created the Federalist Society, and all of these billionaires who helped put Citizens United in place, which is why our judicial system is so messed up. But all the darkness that these judges, because the judges colluded with the billionaires with the money. Again, whose ring did they kiss, right? It's the ring of money, basically. Yeah, I should have got a card. Well, maybe this is the card for cash. I don't know. Yeah. She can hold a lot of cash too. I don't know. Yeah. So Saturday is going to be a hot weekend, to say the least. I think temperature-wise and, depending on where you live, temperature-wise and information coming out and issues coming to the forefront. But for you working on your spiritual path, this can be an excellent weekend for moving forward. So I'll leave you with that, and sending you big hugs as always. Okay, take good care. Always let me know how you're doing. Bye.